Hello, my name is Benjamin Schulte, and this is Persuasive Speech on the importance of gun safety. Once upon a time, there was a family from Indiana who experienced first-handedly the deadly effects of leaving out an unsecured weapon. The couple's 4-year-old daughter crept into their room while they slept. The child climbed onto their bed and saw a glistening, shiny object sitting on the nightstand. Excitedly, she reached out and grabbed that object and began to play with it. Unbeknownst to her, it was in fact a loaded pistol. While she played with it, she mistakenly pointed the barrel towards her face and pulled the trigger. The trajectory of the bullet pierced her cheek and struck the sleeping mother's head. This tragedy is a sad reality for many American families. Now, as Mara would say, the improper storage of firearms often lead to accidental injuries or deaths, like with small children playing with guns by simply fooling around with them. A statistic also provided by Mara: in the years of 1976 to 1980, in the state of South Carolina, there were a total of 210 accidental gunshot fatalities. 94 of these were self-inflicted, and 116 were inflicted by others. Of some of these numbers, the statistics include children who were simply fooling around with firearms. Another problem that blights the public are instances of mass shootings. Most recently, places in Dayton, Ohio, and El Paso, Texas, where in both a deranged gunman killed, or two instances of gunmen. One in Dayton where 9 were killed, and in El Paso, Texas, where 22 were killed. These mass shootings are incidents that have become far too commonplace within America. Not just the shootings themselves, but also the 24/7 news media coverage that follows, which often incites mass panic. To quote Gunn, mass media coverage causes a surge in interest about violent attacks and a surge in interest in gun control and gun purchases. By taking advantage of the public's trust, this allows the news media to temporarily influence gun policy change for their own rating system. Coincidentally, these debates also cause a surge in purchasing with Second Amendment advocates, in fear of their liberties being taken away from them. As told by Gunn, reactive gun purchase interest may be an unintended side effect of the gun control debate. So, in summation, the media would rather tantalize and titillate than educate and inform the public. In concurrence, Visitor states, public and legislative attentions turn away from the issues of firearm regulation. Visitor continues suggesting that something even more dramatic than a mass shooting would need to occur to cause any kind of change in gun policy regulation. Something like a presidential assassination. But overall, firearms have been eroding the safety of Americans due to their open accessibility and irresponsible use. To fix this issue, Americans need to rise to the challenge of factoring out the human error by incorporating the technology of the 21st century. So in order to implement this change, we look toward this grid, where we have 4 solutions here. The first being making it harder to buy a gun. The second, investing in smart gun technology. The third, allowing more funding for gun violence research. And the fourth, allowing doctors to discuss with families who have mental disabilities about owning a firearm within home. Now, of these options, you can see that invest in smart gun technology is the most likely option. but after our research, we have concluded that smart gun technology is the easiest and least invasive choice to implement measures in gun safety, especially in the home. The option also explored by Kimberly is to establish a smart gun, which is a gun that will only fire by the authorized user. This includes touch memory, remote control, radio frequency, and biometric technology. This type of smart gun would require the user to wear an accessory, much like a ring, a watch, or a bracelet, which transmit radio waves within a close proximity that would enable the gun to be unlocked or locked for the distance. Also defined by Kimberly, the easiest argument resisting the involvement of smart guns is that smart guns would have no impact on firearms already in circulation, which already is a staggering amount of 310 million guns within the US alone. So, in summation of that smart guns, once they're implemented, would really have no impact on gun violence already out there. Another concern is that smart guns will cause delay in firing, which is not an ideal situation for somebody who is in a position of self-defense or somebody who is in the line of duty. Jointly, smart gun technology is far from perfect, as it is still within the prototype phase. Kimberly states the last possible constitutional infringement arising from a law requiring the only smart guns to be sold comes from the price of technology, as it won't be cheap. However, as earlier we were talking about, if smart guns do not delay an individual's ability to immediately react, there wouldn't be any issues or infringement upon Second Amendment advocates. Law-abiding citizens have every right to own a firearm, as they should. But not every citizen takes every possible precaution to make sure their families are safe from possible exposures in the future of further incidents. But backed by Kimberly, the price of smart guns does not likely constitute a burden on Second Amendment rights, because the price is tied to that new technology. That ensures a higher degree of safety. This price hike may effectively deter many from purchasing a gun, which actually can also serve as a benefit. By having this inadvertent deterrent in place excludes many future Americans from possibly owning a firearm, especially in poor urban areas where gun violence is the highest. This may lower household gun deaths and families possibly sharing guns with each other. Regardless of what sort of technology the smart gun uses, the goal and the essential function of those technologies are the same. If these smart guns are only sold to law-abiding citizens, kept in the hands of the buyer, insecure enough to prevent additional injuries, the chances of a smart gun being used in unintended circumstances can become substantially lower, especially in gun deaths. The concept of a safer firearm solves much of the human error. Also, accidental fatalities that may occur in the future. Furthermore, smart guns could effectively serve the important and substantial government purpose of preventing accidental injuries to children in the home. Some of the fringe benefits include job development, especially with new gun technologies. Decreased cost of storage, as in just eliminating the need, the necessity for having the storage, because you'd be able to have the smart gun out and available to be used in case of emergencies. Also, as I said earlier, easier to have the firearms out in the open, but may also assist with concealed carry permits or open carry permits, as it is a safe weapon and unlikely to be used by other people from grabbing it, because the only authorized user can use it. Now, there are ways for you to help. If you want to incorporate smart gun technology, you can contact your state congressman, which our state congressmen are Sherrod Brown and Ron Portman. Those are the mailing addresses, the 37 West Broad Street and the 200 North High Street, the rooms and the area. Another way to help, especially to mitigate further incidents from occurring, is by making sure to educate your children on the dangers of guns that are currently out there right now with the lacking safety measures, and respecting firearms themselves as weapons that are potential for danger. Another one is making sure to research your facts. This is targeted mostly towards the media. A lot of times the media would like to add sensationalism to their stories by not fact-checking their sources. So it's incumbent upon us to make sure we fact-check what they are saying, especially with gun regulation, gun legislation, or even just gun violence, what's going on right now in America. So it's important to fact-check what is being told to you before you believe everything. Now in summation, or overall, the issues we've discussed are the gun accessibility and the irresponsibility of guns being used. The plan, establishing safe weapon technology to help mitigate gun deaths, especially in the home. Decrease dependency on burdensome gun safes to make owning a smart gun more convenient. As I was stating earlier, with a smart gun, that it would be like a safe and secure like a safe, that you could have it available and open, especially in cases of home invasion or using it to defend your family. But overall, this innovative technology, once implemented, could help decrease the likeliness of disasters. Much like what happened to a young girl from Indiana. Just think about the possibility of a future where we do not have to worry about our children handling dangerous weapons, weapons that we use to protect our own homes. I'm sure that if your child were to manage to grab a hold of one of these weapons, they would never be able to take their own life or the lives of those around them under any circumstances. Much like what almost fatally happened to that young girl from Indiana, who almost lost her life and her mother's at the same time because of a child's curiosity and outdated safety measures.